anytime I do any video where I discuss the playoffs, certain fan bases will automatically jump in and say, "What about?" Then I'm left going, I know," and then you'll see comments in the section like, "Well, this team is in, this team isn't, this team isn't." So I thought, all right, I'm going to go ahead and go through each team here. All right, I'm going through the 6 teams in the race for that last wildcard spot in the East, and the 3 in the Turtle Derby for the last spot in the West. I haven't used the term Turtle Derby in a long time. Looking back to the old Smythe division, when the Canucks, the Jets, and the Kings, none of them wanted to be in the playoffs because who wants to get killed in the first round by Calgary or Edmonton? Just let them take it. So, all right. The Islanders lose, and I've got that game up here. I've got that checked off. So they lose their game in hand. They currently have 71 points, and they have 11 games away and 7 at home. They have 10 games against non-playoff teams. And if you notice here, I've got happy faces and medium and then unhappy faces. And a medium I gave to the Islanders because they made the second round last year, but they aren't an overly experienced playoff team. Now, the Leafs are next up with 70 points. They got 10 at home and 8 away. 11 versus non-playoff teams. So of all the teams on the eastern side, they have the weakest remaining schedule. 11 out of their last 18 opponents are non-playoff teams. And they got a bunch of games at home coming up. But I gave them the sour frowny face because they don't have the experience. The thing is, they also don't have the experience to know they're the Leafs. They're supposed to be losers. They haven't had the experience all year, and it's been paying off. So between the two, I'm going to do it this way. Between the two, I have to say that with... Oh, geez, I messed up the... See what I did? All right. My camera goes, what? Between the two, I can't eliminate either of them right now. Now, Florida has 9 at home, 9 on the road. I give them like a medium. Yager by himself makes this an almost happy face. They have 8 games left against non-playoff teams, so they have a rough schedule down the stretch. Tampa's one that I was asked about. Tampa's an interesting one because they have 11 at home, 7 on the road. I gave them a happy face because they have a lot of experience in the playoffs over the last few years. And they've got 8 games against non-playoff teams. So if I had to wager, I would say the Leafs probably don't factor in ahead of Florida, Tampa, and the Islanders in terms of who's going to grab that last spot. I would even say that with just the 1-point differential, I wouldn't give it to Florida. So I'm just spitballing this here based on the schedule. Philly, no matter what way I try to make it work for Philly, for me it doesn't work. Philly's been too inconsistent. They have the 10-game winning streak, and they've been iffy since then. So Buffalo had a 3-0 lead after one period and then stopped playing, and Pittsburgh's been beating the hell out of them since. And I don't know that I have a lot of faith in Buffalo. They have 8 at home, 9 away, including this one in Pittsburgh. If they win this one in Pittsburgh, they jump to 68 points, but the other teams ahead of them still have 2 games in hand. That's major. That is major. And only 7 of the remaining games are against non-playoff teams. And in terms of experience, I gave them a frowny face. So, Buffalo. And I know Philly fans are going to be mad at me right now. Philly fans are going to be like, well, why don't we get the same treatment? I just don't see it in the cards. So if it's between the Islanders and Tampa, here's the interesting thing. The Tampa's got 11 at home, 7 away. Islanders have 7 at home, 11 away. The Islanders have gone through all of this revamp under Doug Weight, and it's been really good for them. They've had a good record, but they're showing signs of cracking right now. Tampa, on the other hand, the good story with Tampa is Stamkos is back on the ice. Stamkos is getting ready to play hockey again. Steven Stamkos has 20 points in 17 games. Kucherov is a top 10 scorer in the NHL. So between these two, what's the separating factors? Okay, the Islanders have more away, but they have 2 more games against non-playoff teams. The thing is, when I count non-playoff teams, I'm also counting everybody else on the board, so you might want to take that a little bit with a grain of salt. Gets a little more egregious when we get to the West, but we'll get to that. I wouldn't bet against Tampa. So the question was asked earlier, what about Tampa? Based on the remaining schedule, despite the fact there's 2 teams in between the Islanders and Tampa Bay, all things being equal, I can't see Florida, after that home loss against Dallas and strength of schedule, I can't see Florida getting that last spot. But I also don't see the Islanders holding off Tampa. It's possible. This whole board could be proven completely wrong. And I'm not going by percentages, and I don't use the percentage website because it changes every day. But honestly, between the two, if I had to make a prediction right now, Tampa comes through and gets that last spot. Tampa is then the challenge for the Washington Capitals in the first round. Tampa, potentially with a healthy Steven Stamkos, and probably the most underrated team in the East in terms of their positioning. So that's mildly scary. But let's go to the West, where, as I said, there's a turtle derby. Now, the Kings, despite their home loss to the Canucks last night, where they didn't play for the first period, and then they decided to play the second and third, but it was too late, they'd already lost. The Kings have 11 at home, 6 on the road, but they only have 6 games against non-playoff teams. The St. Louis Blues, who have 2 games in hand and are only 1 point back, have 8 at home, 11 away. So that seems to be evening things out. However, they have 11 games against non-playoff teams. They play Arizona a lot. They play Colorado. They cannot lose to Colorado. If Colorado and Arizona put up good numbers against St. Louis, this number doesn't matter. They have to beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and this is what's driving me nuts about St. Louis. St. Louis should be ahead of the Kings right now. The Kings are ahead because they haven't been terrible, and St. Louis has been terrible. Winnipeg. Winnipeg's got 9 at home, 7 on the road, but for Winnipeg, they've only got 4 games left against non-playoff teams. Every single game Winnipeg plays from here on out, -4 out of the 16 they're playing against a team they're chasing. That's exhausting. I want to see Winnipeg in there, but I can't. I just can't see it. I can't see the Winnipeg Jets getting into the playoffs. Based on that strength of schedule, despite how fantastic they played in their last 2 games, I just can't see it. The Blues seem to want to fall apart. 5 losses in a row, and they're trying their hardest to blow it. But the Kings have started to find their scoring touch again. The Kings have Jonathan Quick rounding back into form. The Kings have a backup in Ben Bishop who hasn't been great for the Kings so far. I agree. So before anybody says anything, I agree with you. But he's capable. So I still see the Kings holding on to that last playoff spot. Let me know in the comments below why I'm wrong. If you're a Philly fan, let me know why I'm wrong. And if you're a Tampa fan or a Kings fan, there you go. For me, the math, the schedule, just 11 games at home for both of these teams. The amount of experience both of these teams have, strength of schedule will be damned. I could see them both being the last wild cards. And here's the ironic part. Minnesota and Chicago don't want the Kings in the first round. Washington doesn't want Tampa in the first round. You don't want that first round to take so much energy out of you that you're done in the second round. And that's what these 2 teams can do. The Kings play a physical, brutal game. They're slow, but they're brutal. Tampa is skilled, fast, and deep on every part of the roster. Their goaltending, you could argue, with Budaj has lost something. Budaj didn't look very good in the 1 game he's played for Tampa, and if Vasilevsky has any issues in the playoffs, I think Tampa goes out quick. But offense, defense, overall depth, confidence, and experience, Tampa's there. And the Capitals would have to be nervous to play Tampa in the first round. They want the Islanders. They want the Leafs. They don't want these guys. So again, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And that's it for me for now. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through. And thank you very much for watching.